Do you love camping? But you just can't stand the bugs. If so, I've got a product that's gonna fix all of that. What's going on? It's Samantha from Lone Crow Adventures, the channel where we talk about all things camping, hiking, and backpacking. Today, I want to introduce you to my very favorite Thermacell device, the Thermacell MR300. And this thing is a beast. Now, if you're at all familiar with past Thermacell products, then you've probably seen the scent pads and the butane cartridges before. But just in case you haven't, the butane cartridge is the fuel that powers the unit, and the heat heats up this scent pad, which then produces this aura, which keeps bugs away. I know it sounds magical, but it actually works. Inserting the butane cartridges into the MR300 is a big improvement over previous models. Put just a slight amount of pressure here, and this plate pops right off. And that reveals a connector on the inside with some threading. You take your 12-hour butane cartridge, pop off the cap, and you'll notice that it has a male connector. Once you have the cover plate off of the MR300, you go ahead and take your 12-hour butane cartridge and you insert it directly into the unit, and you just give it a slight turn, about 2 full turns, and it will thread in easily and tightly. Once that's complete, you go ahead, replace the cover cap, and you're ready to go, except for the scent pad. The scent pads come in these handy dandy foil packets, and they're individually wrapped to preserve the freshness of the chemical on here. So you go ahead, just open this up, revealing a bright blue pad. Once you have the butane cartridge inside of your Thermacell, you're ready to put the scent pad on, and they're really easy. They just slide through this little hole, and you just push them right through. I'll give you a side profile. That shows the space in there. When you're ready to replace this pad, be careful because this grate here is going to be hot. So you may want to take a knife and push this pad out, or even better, take the new pad, put it flush to the lip, push the old pad out, and put the new pad in its place. It's really easy to tell when you need to change these scent pads because they're 4 hours, right? You don't need to set a timer. Just look at the scent pad. When it's brand new, it's bright blue, just like this. As it burns off, it starts to turn to a more white color. And once the pad is completely white, that's when it's time to switch it out and throw in a fresh one. One of the reasons that I like the MR300 better than any Thermacell I've tried to date is because of the ease of ignition. Super simple. Just like a light switch, you flick from off to on. That turns the butane on. You'll let it flow for about 15 seconds, and then you push the start button. And you should hear it kind of just kind of like a barbecue. With this unit, you generally only need to push it once, but you may need to push it 3 or 4 times. But for me, it lights on the first light every time. To check that it's on, you go ahead, take a look. Yep, got a little glowing ember. That orange ember means that the Thermacell's on and ready to fight the mosquitoes. It doesn't take long for this heat plate to heat up and to start releasing that chemical. This bad boy is ready to go within about 60 to 90 seconds. The packaging says about 5 minutes. And if you have really intense bugs, you'll get the full protection in a full 15 minutes. But I notice when the bugs are biting that when I turn this on, I start to notice at least some level of relief within the first 1 to 2 minutes. Whenever I do a Thermacell video, I inevitably get asked 2 main questions. The first, what the heck is on that scent pad? And the second, is it safe? So let's address the first question. The Thermacell Mosquito Repellent pads are treated with a chemical called alethrin. And elethrine has been a widely used synthetic insecticide since the mid-1940s when it was first discovered. In fact, elethrine is one of the main chemical compounds found in permethrin, which is probably a chemical that you're familiar with, that you treat your clothing with to help repel mosquitoes, flies, chiggers, and ticks. Thermacell has discovered a way to take elethrine, to put it on a scent pad, and diffuse the elethrine into the air. The diffused elethrine in the air basically acts as a neurotoxin to mosquitoes, causing their nervous systems to shut down and they die. When they come into contact with the edge of your zone of protection, the mosquitoes will flee because they immediately identify it as being toxic and they don't want to come near it. The second part of this question, is elethrine safe? This smoke is not something I would recommend that you sit here and breathe, because you're going to get an irritated throat, you're going to get irritated sinuses, and if you have asthma, you could be en route for an asthma attack. But if you place the unit beside you as it's intended to be used and allow the elethrine to saturate the air around you, it is no more toxic than putting chemical DEET on your skin. In fact, elethrine in various studies, when it's diffused in air forms, has been shown to be less toxic than applying a DEET-based spray to your skin for insect repellent. Thermacell is an excellent product and it's suited to a wide variety of outdoor activities. Whether you're camping, fishing, having a barbecue, or sitting around a bonfire and enjoying some food, the Thermacell is going to help keep those mosquitoes down. And in fact, since I started using Thermacell, I no longer use a DEET-based spray. Where I wouldn't recommend using a Thermacell is for any activity where you're going to be on the move. So if you're hiking, for instance, this isn't going to be very effective. Now, if you stop to cook yourself a lunch and you turn this on while you're making your meal, this will be effective. But it's less effective when you're in motion because the technology relies on the air around you becoming saturated with the elethrine chemicals. And as you're moving, you're kind of moving out of that zone of saturation, which means that all the mosquitoes behind you on the trail are dying, but you're running into new ones and they're probably going to continue to bite you. So if I had to rate the Thermacell MR300 on a 5-point scale, guaranteed, no questions asked, this device gets 5 out of 5 crows. Perfect score across the board. There is not a single thing wrong with this device. There is nothing I would even change about it. If I had to pick something to be particular about, I would ask that Thermacell include more butane cartridges and more scent pad cartridges in the initial package that you buy. When you first buy this, you get one 12-hour cartridge and 3 scent pads, which is basically enough maybe for 1 or 2 nights. It would be really nice if they could boost that number up to 3 butane cartridges and 9 scent pads, so that way if you pick this up before you went on, let's say, a week-long vacation, you would have enough supplies to get you through there. You can find these Thermacell pads and butane cartridges at most major retailers. You can find them at Walmart, you can find them at Tractor Supply, you can find them at hardware stores. I've even seen them at Walgreens and CVS because these things are really catching on and they're becoming more widely available. So if you are going on a trip and you run out of these supplies, you may just have to run down to your local pharmacy and they may have them. They're really starting to carry these things in a lot more places because people are trying out Thermacell and they're believing in it because it works. If I haven't sold you guys on the MR300, feel free to check out this playlist, which is the best of Thermacell devices that I personally have tried. I love them all. Check it out. I'm sure you guys will love them too.